Martha's hand trembled as she held the baby, because the face staring back at her through the doorway was one she never thought she'd see again. 20 years. 20 years since he'd left town without a word. 20 years since he'd broken a promise that mattered. 20 years since she'd locked away the memory of James Bridger and thrown away the key. But there he stood, older, weathered, desperate, and holding a sick child. The baby's cry was fading, and Martha knew she just knew that this little one needed help. Real help, soon. But if she let him inside, if she opened the door to the past, some chapters are better left. Closed 3 hours earlier, the November wind was fierce. Martha stood at her kitchen window, watching tumbleweeds roll across the prairie. Her ranch built with her own 2 hands. After her husband passed that 15 miles from the nearest town, 15 miles from the nearest neighbor, she preferred it that way. Quiet was predictable. Solitude was safe, because visitors meant questions, and questions meant dredging up a past she'd worked hard to forget. A sudden, urgent knock shattered the silence. Martha paused, coffee cup halfway to her lips. Nobody came out here. Not at 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night. Not unless something was wrong. The knocking came again. Weaker this time. Desperate, then, she heard it. A baby's cry. Thin and exhausted, her heart sank. She crossed the room, opened the door and time stopped. You need to understand something about Martha Calloway. She wasn't a woman who startled easily. She'd built a ranch from nothing, survived harsh winters, and faced down challenges that would have sent most folks running. But when she opened that door, when she saw his face, every carefully built wall came tumbling down. He looked different than she remembered. Gray touched his temples. Deep lines marked his face, size that had once made promises neither of them could keep. James Bridger, the man who left town 20 years ago, the day they were supposed to start a life together. The man who disappeared without explanation, leaving her standing alone with unanswered questions. And now he stood on her porch, holding a bundle of blankets, exhaustion and worry etched into every feature. Martha, he said quietly. His voice was rough. Please. My daughter, she's burning up with fever. I've been traveling for 2 days. The doctor 3 towns over couldn't help. He said I'd need to find someone with experience. Your neighbor mentioned you'd help with sick animals, children in the area. I didn't know where else to turn. You should leave. The words came out harder than she intended. James flinched. Martha, I know we have history. I know I hurt you, but this isn't about me. It's about her. The baby's small cry cut through Martha's anger. Her eyes dropped to the bundle and his arms. A tiny face, flushed with fever. Dry lips. Shallow breathing. How long has she been like this? The question escaped before she could stop it. 3 days. Her mother passed, bringing her into the world. There's no one else. Every town I try, doors close. People remember the mistakes I made. His eyes, those eyes that had once filled her dreams, met hers. But you were always different, Martha. You were always the kindest person I knew. Even after everything, I thought maybe. And that's when Martha felt it. The thing she thought she buried years ago, along with her old hopes and dreams. Compassion. Because she understood the look of someone watching a child suffer. She knew what it meant to need help and find only closed doors. Please, James said quietly. I know you have every right to send me away. But she's innocent. She didn't do anything wrong. She's just a baby who needs someone with a gentle hand and a kind heart. Bring her inside. The words surprised even Martha. James looked at her, hope flickering across his features. Quickly, before the cold gets worse, he stepped through the doorway, holding the baby like she was the most precious thing in the world. Martha closed the door and immediately began preparing. Put her on the table, carefully. I need to check her temperature. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency, gathering clean water, finding fever remedies, pulling out soft blankets. She unwrapped the baby gently and stopped. There, on the baby's tiny right shoulder, was a birthmark, a small, crescent moon shape. Martha's grandmother had one just like it. Her mother had one. Martha herself had one in the exact same place. The Calloway family mark, passed down through generations. Her hand stilled. She looked up at James, really looked at him, at the hope in his eyes, at the way he watched her with something that seemed almost like recognition. James, her voice was barely a whisper. Where do you say this baby came from? He shifted uncomfortably. A woman I knew briefly, about a year and a half ago. She showed up 9 months ago with a baby, said I was the father, made me promise to care for her. Then she was gone. Martha's mind raced backward. 18 months ago, she traveled to Redemption Falls for a cattle auction. There had been a social gathering. She'd met a kind stranger who'd helped her with her lame horse. They'd talked 4 hours about life, loss, and second chances. She'd never gotten his full name, but his eyes, those eyes, the woman who brought you this baby, Martha said slowly. Did she say anything else? Anything about where the child came from? James looked confused. She just said the mother wanted the baby to find family, real family. Martha stared at the birthmark, the Calloway mark, her family's mark. James, she whispered, I think there's something we need to talk about. His expression shifted from confusion to slow realization. That night in Redemption Falls, he said quietly, the stranger with the lame horse. That was you? Martha nodded. Unable to speak, they both looked down at the baby with Martha's family birthmark, the baby who'd somehow found her way home. What happened next would change 3 lives forever. To people separated by 20 years of hurt and misunderstanding, and one innocent child who might just be the bridge between their past and future. But first, Martha had to make a choice. Open her heart to possibilities she thought were long gone, or protect herself from hope that might break her all over again. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories.